But spring 2023, sorry, seasonal confusion. I believe we have EmeraldAly doing Ghost of Tsushima, Dual Rush Lethal DLC, and I guess Emerald, take us away.
Hi, thanks so much. Yeah, this is Ghost of Tsushima, Duel Rush. It's a kind of an unofficial category. It is on the leaderboard, but it's not a run of something that per se exists within the game. Just a few quick words about what we're about to see. There was a patch rolled out with this game when the director's cut version came out, allowing the replay of most open world activities, and we've sort of structured a Duel Rush category around them, but it involves finding each one on the map and just doing them all in sequence. There's no Duel Rush, press a button thing, as much as I would love there to be. And as much for leaderboard verification purposes as anything, here's our proof that we're on lethal difficulty. We'll start with the Gosaku's armor for reasons that will become clear. These are the charms we're using. The charms of bludgeoning. This is all about breaking the guard meter of enemies. For most of the run, we'll use the Sarugami armor, since that's from the DLC, and it contains several very overpowered charms. As I say, we'll start with the Gosaku's armor for the first 4 fights. And if you're ready on the timer, I am just about ready to get going. First fight is Khotun Khan. Time starts when I press X to signal yes to start this fight. So 3, 2, 1, begin time. Now you may, if you've played this game, remember there being 2 fights with Khotun Khan. The first one is unwinnable as part of the prologue of the story, and of course he's not playing along during the actual run. I just did a dry run of this fight a second ago, and he did everything I wanted him to do here. The unwinnable first fight against Khotun Khan is not replayable, so it's not part of the Duel Rush. Yeah, it's very annoying when he dodges the kick, because I just need to break his guard twice, and then do an ability we'll see throughout the run called Dance of Wrath. It's 3 very quick unblockable hits that go through an enemy's guard. See, it just kind of shredded him. 1 more hit and he's done. These first 4 fights are done with the Gosaku's armor. I am a bit more of a glass cannon with Gosaku's than I am with Sarugami, but it's because Sarugami's armor is all about parrying enemies. The first 4 fights don't really do any parryable attacks, so you kind of have to shred their guard bar to defeat them. Muge is a major boss within the storyline, so he has a lot of dialogue in his fight. Mostly for these replayed fights, you want the enemies that talk to shut up as quickly as possible, because most of them will just... it's unfortunate. What am I doing? Most of them will just stand there and talk to you and not fight while they're talking.
I am Jin Sakai, and I have killed men like you all...
Muge can walk and chew gum, but Masako is a really bad one. If she talks, she will just stand there and talk and not attack you at all.
A lucky blow. You will not get enough.
Yeah. Any attack he does will one-shot me with this build.
And I have killed men like you all across
He's not off to a great start. I would probably have reset if this was a PvP.
Careful, Temuge. You can't get Khotun's reward if you're dead.
Yeah, I'm up against the invisible edge of the arena, which is a little nervy since I can't roll away from attacks that way. Yeah, I need to break his guard 4 times, and then do Dance of Wrath
And I might show you mercy.
to defeat him. I have to be, like, very on edge to avoid whatever he does. I thought for a time that it was just his flaming sword attacks that one-shot me. It's actually anything. Okay, there's the line I'm looking for. Killed men in many countries, Muge, Dance of Wrath.
You die.
And he's done. That was a little rough. Not too terrible, I suppose. There's 2 more fights against shield enemies. One is at the very south of the map, or Lord Harunari. One always takes a second to load. And unlike Temuge, who talks, and therefore we need to get super close to him, Harunari doesn't say a word. So we have to keep our distance from him as we do our shield stance combos. I only need to break his guard twice. I thought it was 3 times for the longest time, but 2 guard breaks, Dance of Wrath, and he'll be right for the picking. Alright, next one is Altan. He talks a little, not as much as... certainly not as much as Temuge, but we do need to stay away from him and then do our shield stance flurry.
You
I think I missed a couple of hits there.
to survive.
That little move where... that is so annoying. That little move where the shield enemy, like, partial parries my attack.
And yet you despise others for
Yeah, I
doing
missed a
the
few
same.
hits earlier, so this should have only been 2 guard breaks against Altan as well, but the way I did it, it's gonna end up being 3. Luckily with this build, a single shield stance combo will fully break their guard, so that good. Alright, so those 4 fights are done. We will now switch over to the Sarigami's armor. And from here, head to the DLC. This is a slight routing change I've implemented recently, doing the Kunbesh fight first. Kunbesh switches stances during his fight, but he always starts in shield stance. He doesn't one-shot me, not with this armor loadout, but I still don't want to get hit. Yeah, it's not very good.
You will hang like the peasants.
There's nothing on this build, there's no charms of bludgeoning on this build, so it takes multiple shield stance flurries. He is way more aggressive than usual right now. Yeah, if I was able to break his guard without taking damage, he would drop the shield and never pick it back up, which isn't quite as big a help as it sounds, but it's good to know he won't go back into that stance. Okay, I'm gonna use Iron Will here. I think I'll be alright.
Where is your gratitude?
You deserve nothing less than
Yeah,
death.
he went back into shield stance. This is very unusual. There, he dropped the shield. Spear stance. Now, there's more going on than I can easily talk
Waste
about.
the eagle's gift
So,
to you.
help
You waste the air.
what we're watching and what you're hearing me say makes some amount of sense. Okay, that was very sloppy, but we got through it. Next fight is the hardest one in the run, bar none. It is the Eagle. Very RNG dependent as well. And I'm probably going to go into like super focus mode here.
How can you fight? You cannot defeat.
You can actually interrupt the throwing knives, but you have to be close to where to do it. That's so far. That's how quickly it can change.
How can you fight? You cannot defeat.
Yeah, the Eagle after a parry is... Wow, I can't even reset the checkpoint here. I have to let her kill me. That's great. After a parry and the 3 free hits from the Sarigami armor, she's 1 hit shy of a guard break, so I have to use Heavenly Strike to break her guard. I have experimented with putting a Charm of Bludgeoning on this build, but it's just not worth it.
Now I break.
And I really wish that that was 3 bars of resolve. It's not quite. Yeah, there's nothing you can do when she spins her spear like that. Alright, should be good. Alright. Alright, next up is the Viper. You'll notice this boss and I shop at the same store. This fight is where you unlock this armor.
Guide my blade, Sarugami. You're blind. This isn't a fair fight.
No.
There's another one who, though he talks, thankfully he fights while talking. That fight's pretty simple. Next up is... Or, did I say the Viper? That's Blackhand Riku. Next up is the Viper. Yeah, the Viper is, This is a fight you don't have to do in the, course of playing through the DLC. You can non-violently get through this scenario. And thankfully, you're able to, quote-unquote, replay this duel, even if you do resolve this situation in the story non-violently. This is a duel that's actually...
You chose the wrong friend.
I wouldn't say hard, but hard to do fast. And the upcoming duels on the southernmost district are also like that, because they're not balanced for you to be as powerful as I am right now. This one especially, this is the easiest fight, but it's one of the hardest to do fast, because you have to bait her to do attacks, and on this difficulty, all attacks do a ton of damage, so...
How dare you How dare you trespass on Fabioli's...
All attacks do a ton of damage, so... You can't make any mistakes, I guess is my point. And then winds up one hit short of quote-unquote dying. She's actually friendly, so we don't kill her at the end of the duel. That went pretty well. You also hear a Koga. This is the fight where you unlock Heavenly Strike. You actually need to do it to cap off the fight. I don't think I said this, but if the host ever needs to jump in with like donations or announcements or anything like that, please feel free. I don't really have planned commentary, I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind. After this little sword clash, when Jin says I've got it, that's when you roll for some reason. No, do the Heavenly Strike. That signals the end of the fight. Next up is Tengu Demon. Whoop, wrong map. Tengu Demon is there. This fight actually shows why we had to implement a certain clause into the leaderboard rules for this run. It'll become clear once he's defeated.
First, I'll drive the Mongols from our home. After that, I'll worry about curses.
That clause is to allow the full transition back to the open world. You see, right now I could pull up the menus and hit end replay and skip all of this. But we decided that for a duel to be considered complete, we have to come back up to the open world. Next up is Ryuzo. Ryuzo's another chatty one. Ryuzo probably talks more than any duel opponent. So you gotta get him to shut up and fight.
I'll make it quick.
And the way you get your opponents to shut up and fight is basically by attacking thin air. If your attack lands on them, it doesn't advance their like AI or whatever to get to the point of becoming aggressive. You have to almost make a mistake in the fight to get them to do change. But with well-timed Dance of Wrath and a couple of Heavenly Strikes, he's easily taken care of. Now we are into the second area of the map in the main progression of the game. You'll see a lot of these 6 Blades of Kojiro fights, and then the fight with Kojiro himself, which is certainly one of the tougher fights.
You lived your life in a castle. He made you soft.
That is a tough attack to dodge. It is dodgeable, but the timing is very precise. Shouldn't really end up mattering now. Nope. Let's see if Jin says his line here. Nope. Most of the fights, especially in this part of the map, have a little quip from Jin at the end of them. And sometimes he says them in the replays, sometimes not. If you're familiar with the game, you may be noticing that I'm doing what the game calls perfect parries. This armor set actually disables regular parry, so it's not as, I don't know, impressive as perfect parry might make it sound. But you're not seeing the parry animation. It's because if you parry and attack, not quite simultaneously, but extremely tight timing behind each other, you can actually skip the parry animation altogether, which is a big time save for this run, especially the way I do it. Is it Spirit of Yarikawa next? This one's great. I'm gonna voluntarily take a minor time loss here to show something really funny. Parry, punish.
Let's see how you move.
Yarikawa is your prey.
Punish. Parry. Punish. Dance of Wrath. Okay, my hands are not on the controller.
What are you doing?
I know I'm not using cam, so you have to take my word for it, but my hands are not on the
I
controller.
know how to defeat you.
No, you will die.
You are a great
And she
warrior.
just dies.
You dance of wrath.
It's because this is where you unlock Dance of Wrath in the main storyline, and the game never expects you to have it coming into this fight because
Friend.
there was no New Game Plus, let alone Duel Replay, when the game first launched. So it's just a funny little quirk. There are faster ways to end that fight. You can actually kill her by any means, Heavenly Strike, or simply regular attack, or just attack thin air will also kill her.
It never works.
You promised me.
My promise.
So it's pretty good. I like that one in the Duel Rush.
Engage the enemy.
Masako, this fight is really kind of historically significant, I guess you could say, because this was actually the first gameplay footage that the developers ever showed of this game, was this fight with Masako. So when you play through the game and she's your ally for the majority of the game, it's a bit of a surprise, I guess. And where are we going? We are going here, Duel of Crashing Waves. Yeah, finding all the duels is kind of the unofficial extra boss. We'd sure love there to be an official, like, Duel Rush mode, but there isn't.
Surrender, and you can live. Thank you.
I'm a little worried I'll get to the end of the run. It's like, wow, I got such a great time, but I actually, like, skipped 2 fights. Or didn't do them, I guess would be better to say. I don't think I've missed any so far. That's one of these 6 Blades of Kojiro fights. Not too tough.
I hope you find true honor in your next life.
Next is the other side of the map, Duel Under Falling Water. I just love the scenery. It's one of the things I didn't really think about at first when structuring the Duel Rush category. Duel Rush is kind of my baby, if it's not clear. But you see so many different parts of the map doing this run. And I did Dance of Wrath a little too early there, but I think we'll be alright. Yep. Definitely going a little bit better since we got out of the DLC. Oh, no, not that one. This one. I don't think I'm doing them in the order I usually do them. Not the exact order anyway, but that's fine. Yeah, this guy's a jerk. When he says they'd all be alive if you'd gotten here sooner. Without context, that sounds like, oh, you could have helped me kill these evil people and save these people's lives. He's actually talking about people he killed himself when he says that. So he's a jerk. And he's dead now.
You'll never kill again.
That's my favorite post-fight quip. You'll never kill again. Alright, next is Kojiro. Such a cool setting. There. Dodge the uppercut attack. It's a little easier against Kojiro. Few of the enemies do it.
I've killed 1,000 men. Every death was sweet.
The musician was right.
You're a timid.
He's being a good boy right now. This is often one of the hardest fights, and certainly in a casual playthrough it is. Okay, yeah, that was my fault. I tried punishing too many times.
Are you the one who finally killed me?
Is that what
But
you want?
luckily the parries I'd gotten racked me up enough for an Iron Will and a Dance of Wrath. And really cool effect at the end of this fight with the screen going red like that.
Can I just use this opportunity to talk about the charity we're raising funds for?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
So, One Tree Planet is a charity focused on reforestation, and
You should have
plant one tree
surrendered.
for every
I will
dollar that
die
is
by your
donated.
uncle's hand.
Have a $95% rating on charity. What? So, right now, our donations have done the equivalent of plant 620 trees.
You won't stop me, Ryuzo.
Very impressive.
It's fantastic.
More information
it?
can, more information
broke
can
your
be
uncle's
found at
code.
their website at
You left me no choice.
onetreeplanet.org/pages/about-us. And they, yeah,
I'll never forgive
aim
you.
to plant the equivalent of 1,000 trees. It's
That was the second fight with Ryuzo there. I sort of inadvertently demonstrated how he likes to talk and just stand there and not do anything. That's because I was a little scared. So Betomaru is the one and only dual opponent who is not actually trying to kill you. This is where you learn the flaming sword technique yourself, the way of the flame. It's a pretty consistent fight script here. Break his guard once, Dance of Wrath for another guard break, and he tells you to use the way of the flame,
Your piece of the rock.
and you just gotta go ham on him.
Once more. The way of the flame, Diana. Yes, like that.
No, 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 no! Yeah, it's embarrassing to lose to the one and only dual opponent who is not actually trying to kill you.
The way of the flame is unforgiving. Now, strike your sword against your piece of
Yeah, the thing about this fight is you have to do the flaming sword twice, and to do it twice, it has to extinguish the first time. And I don't have any... Okay, there. Excuse me, that should be the end. Okay. Like, what the heck? And I'm pretty sure my only fight left is Lord Shimura. Unless I've missed one. I don't think I have. I like to do this fight last because it is such a great climax. You know, beautiful setting. And it's not that hard a fight. You know, certainly it's a hard fight in casual playthrough and very punishing if he does hit me, but
Killing me will only make them worse.
it should be
I don't
okay.
want to hurt you.
So be ready on time.
You want revenge. For my failure. This is not my revenge. I don't want to hurt you.
Alright, and... time. Alright, that was fun. I'm not sure I had everything... I said everything that was relevant to say, but yeah, that was the Duel Rush. I love the one-on-one combat in this game, as if you couldn't tell. And get those donations coming. We've only got one planet, so do everything we can to do right by it. Thank you so much for having me.
Alright, there have been no more donations so far, which is slightly alarming. Those trees aren't going to plant themselves after all, so later on we will... So, next run will be the Cow the Kangaroo round 2 by Chotu, where we will be getting the extra incentive of the bonus of the Pirates Bay level in Showcase, followed by uh, some very well-known games, or some fairly obscure games like Super Mario 64 and Links of the Past getting done. And if you're still awake, you'll then be treated to DBK doing Super Chinese Fighter, which is an incredible run. But anyway, that's all for us. So there's